Hi. If you're watching this, then you're probably my professor or my TA. And if not, then hello and welcome to this presentation. Today, we're talking about transportation. Public transportation specifically. In the US, transportation accounts for about 28% of direct greenhouse gas emissions according to the EPA. It is the single largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions in the country. It is closely followed by the electric power and industrial sectors, with residential and commercial and agriculture accounting for a little bit less. Of the greenhouse emissions from the transportation sector, 80% of those emissions are from cars and trucks, while every other contributor doesn't even reach 10% individually. Why is this? Well, car travel is one of the most commonly used forms of transportation by a wide margin. Not just that, it is also one of the most carbon inefficient ways to get around. Commercial flights, trains, and boats are all more efficient. To compound this, about half of all vehicles on the road are carrying only a single occupant, according to a survey done by the NHTS. Cars are inefficient at the best of times, and to only transport one person when a majority of vehicles are capable of transporting anywhere from 2 to 5 passengers is a big waste. So what can we do? Well, the EPA suggests, and I agree, to invest in public transit. I'm talking about buses, light rail, high speed trains, and probably some other stuff too, but that's not within my scope. Let's look at some stats. Within the 2025 financial year, Portland's Met Transit system, TriMet, was boarded over 65 million times. But let's just zero in on the bus numbers. The bus was boarded just over 42 million times. According to the EPA, the average passenger vehicle produces about 400 grams of carbon dioxide for every mile. So let's do some quick math. At 400 grams a mile times 4 miles, which is the average length of a TriMet ride, you get 1600 grams on average per bus ride. Now let's multiply that by 42 million. You'll end up with 67.2 billion grams of carbon dioxide, which will reduce down to 67,200 tons of carbon dioxide that would have ended up in the atmosphere if each of those people had driven a car. But buses produce carbon emissions too, I hear you say. And you're right. So let's look at that. The average city bus produces about 32 tons of carbon dioxide per year. TriMet has a fleet of 695 buses. Assuming that every bus runs for the full day every day of the year, that is 22,240 tons of carbon dioxide. With that estimate, we still end up with 44,960 tons of carbon saved from bus riders alone, and that's assuming that every bus produces that average. TriMet has been implementing electric buses that run off of renewable energy, reducing emissions even further. It's also important to keep in mind that all of these estimates have been rounded down, so we are actually looking at the low numbers of what we could expect to see a bus save. Anyways, but that's just one city. Surely the impracticalities of public transport heavily outweigh the benefits for people outside of major population hubs. And you're right, partially. It is not practical for rural communities to run robust bus and light rail systems. My argument is not that cars are evil, but simply that there are many benefits to other options as well. Anyway, introducing passenger rail. Driving around the country to go to other cities or states is just about the worst way that you can do it, environmentally speaking. Investing in high speed rail is a great way to connect rural communities together as well as major population centers. If it's easy and convenient for more people to move around the country without cars, more people would do it. Other ways that moving away from cars can help you include a lower burden of cost. It is expensive to maintain a car, paying for repairs, fuel, a car payment. There's less land use for driving and storing cars. Roads and parking spots take up so much space in our cities. More space for people means more places to go and more activities to do. Faster travel times for all travelers. Without every individual being in a car on the highways, congestion is reduced and travel times are much faster. Lower insurance premiums. Less drivers means less risk and less money that you have to spend. And finally, healthier lifestyles are naturally promoted. Commuters without a car are more likely to walk around the city or town that they live in than those with a car. Okay, thank you. That's everything I have.